Welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, April 28, 2017. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is committed to the development and welfare of all workers across the country. That's according to Minister of Economic Planning, Camela Gonzalez, as he spoke at a media conference earlier today, highlighting proposed changes to the minimum wage here in SVG. Speaking on the overall increase, Gonzalez says it will be the first since 2008 and represents an average 20% increase across various sectors. He said the proposed wages was carefully examined via the Wages Council and encompass a wide cross-section of stakeholders across SVG. Gonzalez added that careful consideration was given in order to ensure that employers would not be adversely affected.
Wages Council considered very carefully inputs and testimonies from the employer and employee sides of this equation and consulted with economists and lawyers about the way in which we can model and shape this increase in minimum wage and the way in which it may potentially affect employment in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It makes no sense to increase your minimum wage so high that fewer people get money. That the employer says, well, if I have to pay this minimum wage, I'm going to have to let go 3 or 4 or 10 people. So it's always a balance between raising the minimum wage, but raising it in a way that does not have an adverse effect on employment. You want to create more wealth, you want more money in people's hands and in circulating, but you don't want to raise it so high that employers feel that they have to let people go.
The economic minister added that the exercise, coupled with other initiatives, is a reflection of the government's commitment to decent work and wages as well as safety for Vincentian workers.
The current realities and set a path for us to go forward. This is a reflection, in addition to the occupational health and safety legislation that we're currently editing and reviewing in select committee, coupled with things like the Labor Relations Act, and now this legislation reflect the government's commitment to workers and the welfare of workers, and it reflects also the government's commitment to the Sustainable Development Goals, which provide for decent work for all, decent wages, and a safe working environment. And those are all aspects that we're trying to deal with through a number of acts that are passing through Parliament or have been recently gazetted. We're very proud of our record.
Gonzalez thanked all stakeholders involved for their input and commitment, which would aid in the development of the working people.
And I want to thank very much all of the dedicated professionals, union members, workers, interested parties who gave testimony to the Wages Council, who dedicated their time and their energy to this very, very, very important exercise. As the economy grows, as it has been growing, modestly but still growing, and as our people become more sophisticated and their needs change, we have to continually review and reassess the wages that we pay our citizens. Of course, as I sit here, I would love to say they were even higher than they are. But again, there is a balancing act between what you want to do for the worker and what you want to do for the worker's employer.
The audited financial statements for the International Airport Development Company, the IADC, is at the Caribbean Intellectual Properties Office, CIPO, and the opposition can source the relevant documents there. That's according to Minister of Economic Planning, Camela Gonzalez, as he responded to a question posed on the existence of financial statements for the IADC, the company which was responsible for constructing the Argyle International Airport, at a media conference today. today. Showing copies of the audited financial statements, Gonzalez stated that they are available at SIPO for public viewing and scrutiny.
There's logo on it. I haven't read it to see if it's the first one is an audited financial statement or just a financial statement. But all of the remaining ones are audited financial statements. So we have at SIPO, from as far back as a decade ago, 2007, financial statements 05, 06, 07, 08, 09, 10, 11, 12, and 13. The last one deposited in December of 2015. So I don't want anyone to think that the Honorable Leader of the Opposition started making noise and then suddenly the IDC rushed to SIPO and dropped off these documents. These documents have been there for years. And that is where the law requires them to be. And just like a regular citizen went and picked them up, the Honorable Leader of the Opposition could have picked them up. He could have picked them up as far back as 2007.
Noting that the law requires the documents to be at SIPO, Gonzalez considers statements made by the opposition leader as not being truthful, as in his view the opposition leader could have collected them at any time.
The Honorable Leader of the Opposition would know that the IADC is not a statutory body because statutory bodies are created where? In Parliament. And the Honorable Leader of the Opposition has been sitting in Parliament for the entire duration of the creation of the international airport. So unless he was not paying attention in Parliament, or unless he was so focused on potholes in Paget Farm that he was not concerned with matters of national importance, he would have known that the International Airport Development Company was not a statutory body. He would have known that. And he would have known it further because the Honorable Prime Minister has mentioned it many times in Parliament and has answered many questions on this matter in the past. I find it unfortunate for him to suggest that these documents do not exist.
And research officer for the opposition New Democratic Party, Addison Bash Thomas, said while he was able to see the reported financial documents at the Commercial and Intellectual Properties Office, SIPO, on the Argyle International Airport, he was somewhat perturbed that he was unable to photocopy them because he was told that they have not been registered. Thomas spoke with SVGTV News team on the matter via the telephone after Minister of Economic Planning, Camela Gonzalez, at a media conference earlier today, insisted that copies of the financial statements can be sourced from SIPO.
I was able to inspect the file. I went through it. There are documents in the file, financial statements for a number of years. The final year was 2013, but I was not allowed to photocopy that document. I was told that that document is not registered. That is the financial statement for 2013. That is what I was concerned about. And I was told it was not registered, so I couldn't photocopy it. But I could have gone through it, examined the file, check for anything, but I couldn't get a photocopy of it, which to me doesn't make any sense.
Additionally, opposition leader Dr. Godwin Friday still insists that the documents be made available for public perusal and for the Director of Audit to approve them, as they are public funds.
First of all, we don't know that they're audited, and if they're audited, we don't know if the auditors were appointed. It still doesn't deal with the fundamental question, which is that the requirement by law is that you have public funds accounted for and that they are to the satisfaction of the Director of Audit. The documents that are at the Commercial and Intellectual Property Office can hardly be said to be accessible if you are not allowed to make copies of them and to take them with you so you can study them. And these, if they're financial statements, they would need to be studied to understand what's there. And there is no evidence that it was audited or that it was audited to the satisfaction of the Director of Audit. That is the legal requirement.
On the radio earlier this week, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said the financial statements for the IADC, which began in 2004, have audited statements up to 2013. He also explained that the financial statements for 2014 and 2015 have been drafted and will be released by July, and that the 2016 audited statements will be released soon after. In other news, President of the Public Service Union, Errol Boucher, believes that many jobs in the public service being high risk, workers are still not given priority as it relates to occupational health and safety. Boucher was at the time addressing several representatives of various sectors in this country who were present at the NIS conference room earlier today for a forum to commemorate World Occupational Health and Safety Day. The trade union president said while some strides are being made to boost the occupational health and safety of workers in this country, more needs to be done.
Occupational safety and health have been largely neglected and have not been given priority or treated with importance in the public service. Many jobs in the public service can be categorized as high risk. Workers within the healthcare sector are particularly at risk constantly to chemical and biological hazards. Ambulance drivers, mortuary staff, the nurses, the lab techs, technical workers are all exposed to chemical and biological agents daily while carrying out their tasks. Within the statutory organizations, there have been some progress at addressing OSH issues. I have been informed that VINLEC and CWSA, NIS, have working OSH policies and procedure manuals. These enterprises must be highly commended.
Boucher said that trade unions play an important role in ensuring that all work environments are safe and called on workers to join the trade union movement.
Workplace safety and health is indeed a new reality for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, particularly as it relates to the public service and some statutory bodies. It is a reality that we must therefore contend with. Our own OSH bill is soon expected to become law, and it therefore demands that all stakeholders be in a state of readiness. We must seek to sensitize and educate workers, supervisors and employers. Government, ministries, departments, statutory bodies must be prepared to work with unions and other stakeholders to ensure that public enterprise are able to satisfy the demands of the OSH legislation. Trade unions play a pivotal role in promoting OSH. Unions bring light on what workers perceive as representing a risk or being a source of suffering in their daily lives at the workplace.
Vincentians who are 18 years and older and have a passion for volunteering and lending assistance, especially during times of disasters, now have an avenue to gain training, get certified and contribute to disaster preparedness and awareness with the launching of the SVG First Responders Group. The group, which will be officially launched on May 6th, is a subcommittee of the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO. Nikita Tony tells us more about the group in this report.
With safety as their #1 priority, SVG First Responders Group is aiming to provide Vincentians 18 years and older with the requisite skills so that they can play a role in promoting disaster preparedness, as well as provide assistance during times of disaster. Speaking with SVG-TV earlier today, President of the group, Arthur Deschamps, who boasts over 20 years in emergency and disaster preparedness experience, noted that although there is often an abundance of persons willing to offer assistance during a disaster, these persons may lack the proper training. And so the aim of his organization, along with promoting volunteerism, is to get persons equipped with the right skills. Pointing out that SVG is situated in a zone prone to different natural disasters, Deschamps also urged persons to adopt the concept of pre-planning, because it is not if it will happen, it's when.
Not trained, you become a hindrance to a rescue operation. So we decided to get together and form a group, which of course is SVG First Responders, and get some training so that we can go out there and become part of the operation and not become victims ourselves, but be instrumental in helping others. It's a voluntary organization. No one is getting paid. So you have to give up of your time and sometimes some finance also, just to make sure that this operation go forth and be successful. Launching date is Saturday, May the 6th, and that's going to be at SOV Restaurant and Lounge in Villa. It starts at launching time is at 7 p.m.
Logistics officer and trainer within SVG First Responders, Lawson Bernardi, stated that the group places keen emphasis on safety and training and has begun to do some groundwork even before their official launch.
Completed training in CPR and first aid, and we have persons already certified in that field. We did some training understanding key disaster management concepts, and that was done by Dr. Ferdinand. Use every angle of expertise in terms of training to get persons prepared for disaster, because some person might just look at it as getting out there when we have a disaster and try to help but don't have the necessary skills. So we push that, we drive that home, skill set and training.
Highlighting some of the activities to be held by the group, events coordinator Maria Abbott outlined that the group also aims to educate the overall Vincentian public, as they all have a role to play in disaster preparedness and safety. She further encouraged persons to not only come out and join the group, but support the various activities.
Sunday, the 30th of April, we will be at Glen Baptist Church, 9 o'clock. Monday, we are going on a walk, an awareness walk, where we're going to be passing out flyers, educating the public about disaster. We're going to be going into the different schools, some of the different schools, especially those on the windward side and on the leeward side who are in disaster areas, educating the students. They in turn can educate the other parents, their siblings and so forth around them. A ham radio training session on schedule, which is the 15th to the 19th of May. Even though you may not be able to volunteer your services, you can still support the group, whether you make a monetary donation or we may need of, appliances or whatever it is that you can donate to that group, to our group. We will be grateful.
Cognizant of the fact that this country can be impacted by both natural and man-made disasters at any time, the SVG First Responders coordinators are urging all Vincentians to be prepared for eventualities. Nikita Tony reporting for SVG-TV News.
A basic and advanced computer training course concluded on Thursday, April 27th, with a graduation ceremony at the Sir Louis Learning Resource Center. The course was facilitated by the Ministry of Education through the Division of Adult and Continuing Education. Addressing the graduate director, acting George commended the participants for taking the first step towards a bright future. Nalisha Miller has more in this report.
Singing praises for the efforts of the Division of the Adult and Continuing Education DACE Director Acting John George on Thursday, April 27, 2016, spoke with pride at the closing ceremony of a basic and advanced computer course in the constituency of Central Leeward, stating that the institution is a sole entity that caters to persons 16 years and older who fall outside of the formal school system. George said that the aim is to ensure access to quality and appropriate educational opportunities.
To efficiently carry out its mandate, the division has decentralized its structure. We have 9 geographic zones, and they are operationalized to serve zonal, educational, and community-specific needs of each district. There are caretakers and other auxiliary staff in each of these zones.
Outlining the division's efforts to further invest heavily in labor enrichment and empowerment for its many learners, the DACE director said this is the reason why emphasis is placed on the quality of programs being offered.
Thus, more emphasis and resources are now being engaged in standardized training programs, such as the CVQ, the Caribbean Vocational Qualification, and the Caribbean Certificate of Secondary Level Competence, that we call the CCLCLC, and CSEC, and other locally developed programs. So we have programs that will cater for persons outside the formal system and also in the formal system.
Praising the students and facilitators for the professionalism displayed throughout the duration of the course, Ambassador for the Republic of China on Taiwan, Bashwan Ger, expressed the feeling of gratification to see the scores of young adults who are benefiting from the Taiwanese constructed Learning Resource Center.
The center was built by Taiwan in 2005. Today we gather here to witness together that this center serves its purposes, providing the community a place for gatherings, meetings, and most important, learning. Information technology has become an essential element of our daily life. I'm sure the knowledge and skills the participants have gained in this course will go a long way.
Addressing young adults in his constituency, Area Representative Sir Louis Straker commended the graduates for the level of discipline displayed throughout the course.
It requires a certain amount of discipline, for there are many young people out there who would rather just sit by the roadside and lime.
Sir Louis further shed light on the significance of the skills and qualifications that are available to be acquired.
You have an advantage, and sometimes when you're even a little bit behind with fewer subjects and you can say, well, I have a certificate that you are going to receive this morning, you would be at an advantage, you would have a greater advantage sometimes than those who have one or two subjects ahead of you. So you can't take it lightly, or if even you do not get in the marketplace, you might have younger siblings, you might have children going to school, and you are able to guide them along, because the whole future belongs to ICT.
Currently, the institute, which comprises of 66 academic classes, facilitates some 640 students, 482 of whom are registered to sit the 2017 CSEC examinations. Nolisha Miller, The Evening News.
The 2017 Digicel SVG Gospel Festival will officially climax this weekend with 2 programs this evening and Sunday night. This evening, the Gospel Fest Committee will stage a special song night entitled Sing a Song at the Hope for Life Restoration Ministries in Arnorsville, in which artists are being encouraged to sing an original song and win prizes, with also a possible opportunity of having their song recorded. On Sunday at the Victoria Park, the National Gospel Showcase will take place from 6 p.m. Then there will be performances in song, dance and drama from some of the most outstanding artists coming out of the zonal showcases held last weekend. Special guests for that evening include Paul McMaster and Ronnie Richards, who will be traveling to Canada in May to take part in a series of gospel concerts. The Caribbean's hottest gospel artists, Nisha Woods of Barbados and the Faunus of Trinidad, are the feature artists. Evangelist Zonel Wilkinson of the Church of God of Prophecy will deliver the word. The 2017 Digicel SVG Gospel Festival is being celebrated under the theme 15 years of the glorious celebration of the gospel. In commemoration of their 30th anniversary, the management and staff of VJ's Restaurant is hosting a year of festivities to not only highlight the achievements of the company, but also to promote and embrace the Vincentian culture. As part of this effort, the establishment will on Sunday, April 30th, present their first grand event deemed Apotic at the cruise ship terminal. The manager of the entity spoke with SVG-TV News about their major accomplishments and what patrons can expect at Sunday's showcase. Nikita Tony has more in this report.
A household name among Vincentians, VJ's Restaurant and Bar will this year celebrate 40 years of existence, making it the oldest food establishment in this country. In commemoration of this milestone, the establishment is hosting a year of festivities, including showing appreciation to the Vincentian public for patronage over the years. Daughter of the original founder of the business and one of the entity's manager, Julia Richardson, outlined that due to the success of the business over the past 40 years, it was decided to celebrate in a big way by getting the public involved and doing something different to really promote the VJ's brand.
In a household name, VJ's, and we have strong support from the public, we thought that we should really get involved and do something different, step out of the box. The word VJ's came from our mother's name, Veronica John, and she left us 22 years ago, and we still thought it is necessary to maintain and keep her legacy going. And 40 years later, we are here. We are the oldest restaurant in St. Vincent, and we're urging persons to come out and celebrate with us 40 years.
Richardson spoke of some of the activities which will be hosted during their 40th anniversary year of celebrations.
We're doing this big event on Sunday, a potluck, and also we will be having a radiothon where we can do an awareness of VJs, an awareness to really get the wider St. Vincent to know about VJs. Lunch scholarship, where we're going to look for some unfortunate children who would have done well at the common entrance exams, and we'll offer them lunch as a scholarship. We're trying to get people to eat healthy, eat local, eat natural.
Pointing out that coming from a humble beginnings, the VJ's name has surely made a mark within the Vincentian Society. Son of the business's founder, Steve Miners, who is also a manager at the establishment, noted that persons should see it fit to join in on a weekend of celebratory activities starting today, Friday, April 28th, at the restaurant, with the grand event Apotic slated for Sunday, April 30th.
Out in Kingston Park, basically making banana bread. And from there, moved to Paul's Avenue, where she opened her first, back in the day we call it a cook shop. First thing she dabbles in was the roti, and basically the rest now is history. In terms of 40 years later, we have been selling and being very much part of this fabric of St. Vincent. A lot of people come and go, different generations, and now it's a new generation has been embracing VJs for the first time.
Guest artists at Sunday's event, Vincentian music icon and entertainer Alston Beckett-Cyrus, while urging persons to show their support and attend the celebratory event, gave a preview of what patrons can expect at the event.
Starting from humble beginnings, Miss John started at 40 years ago selling roti and developed to be the top restaurant in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Part of paying tribute to Julia, the children who carry on the business, and just having fun, celebrate a historic occasion. Gonna be a star-studded show, because we have the big star himself, Skinny Fabulous, and yours truly, Alston Beckett-Cyrus, alongside St. Vincent's top band, Kinetic, with horns, live horns, and SVG Angels. 40 years of Vincy Mas, 40 years, make room for me to pass, 40 years. Do darling, 40 years.
Nikita Tony reporting for SVG-TV News.